Israel's Minister of Environmental Protection, Avi Gabai.
Good morning, everybody. Just I forgot I have to speak in English, so I said good morning, everybody. Sorry. Well, Mr. Eyal Rosner is a friend of mine. I just have to, to expose everything. And we are cycling together for about 10 years. And so for the last 10 years, I had to listen to his vision, to his problems, to, he's someone that came from the business sector to the public sector. It's not very easy. And especially for his passion to do things. And I think that it's a great example of how people from the business sector can come to the public sector and make a difference. Just by, it's kind of a startup. It's a kind of, regulation startup in a startup nation. He has, something like 7 or 8 employees, and he's doing this convention, 1,400 people coming from 27 states. It's really a huge success for Eyal, and I really congratulate him for that. In the Ministry of Environment and Eyal's office, we cooperate because for us, transport pollution is kind of, it's a private case of general pollution that we have to deal with, transportation, industry, and all the rest. So for us, everything that Eyal is doing is blessed. We're just in favor of any idea that he came and that he brings and he can manage to get ahead. So for us, it's just a great thing. We are now facing the Paris Convention in the end of this month. It's called the COP21 of the UN, when the world is going to decide about the new targets of reducing the gas emissions. And Israel, as one of the states, and especially of one of the progress states and states of OECD, as you know, we set up our targets that we intend to reduce our greenhouse gas emission to 7.7 ton per capita. It's about 26% less than what we had in 2005. And for us, it's not a very easy target because we are a growing country, like America. We have to, since we are growing, we have to increase our greenhouse gas emission. So we have to do a lot of efforts in order to reduce what we are going to grow naturally. To reach these targets, the government just decided about sub-targets, 17% reduction in electricity consumption relative to the business scenario, as business scenario that as usual. 17% of the electricity generated in 2030 will be from renewable sources. 20% shift from private to public transportation. Yet, we have committed to deal with the cost of living in Israel and not only with the environment. That's why we have no intention to increase taxes that will raise the electricity cost from consumers. Somebody reads about in the newspaper, this is not our intention. We think that we can find ways to increase the protecting the environment without going back to the pockets of our citizens. There's one target that I will really be glad not to be in. It's the electricity consumption. I hope that in 2030 we will have so many electrical cars that we will not be able to meet these targets. I think this is the really change it can be. I am a great believer in technology. I came from a telecom. I was in telecom for about 20 years, and I saw what technology did to the businesses, to the government, to the competition in telecom. The technology did things that nobody at the industry could imagine that will happen. I mean, nobody could imagine what will happen in 5 years, in 3 years, not to say 15 years. And we are now talking about targets that we are going to meet in 2030. It's 15 years ahead. So I'm a great believer that we are going to meet the targets due to technology changes. And I think that this convention and others just emphasize the fact that today technology of transportation it's a hot issue all over the world and in Israel too. And I think that's what will enable us to meet the targets. But technology and startups and everything is nice, but you cannot, not technology, and nevertheless gas, natural gas or others can, break the walls of bureaucracy, okay, and infiltrate into bureaucracy. That's why that is a job. Our job is to reduce bureaucracy and to actually to be enablers for you, the entrepreneurs, to set up their experience, to bring the technology to the market and not to wait too much with bureaucracy, because if you wait too much with bureaucracy, somebody else is coming and bring his new technology, and that's why we have to do it very quickly. And I think this is the main duty of us and Eyal, and I think that we have a great example just from these days. In Israel today, by the legislation that we have today, if you want to set up a new gas station that provide, natural gas or CNG, I mean, you better not start, okay? Because you're going to spend 10 years, a lot of money, and in the end, you're not going to get the permission, okay? This is the current legislation in Israel. And about, 3-4 weeks ago, Eyal came to me and say, what can we do about it? What can we do about it? What can we do about it? This is very important because in Israel today, there's only one bus, okay? One bus that is engine is in gas, okay? On natural gas, one. And this is experiment too. It's not something that really happens. So Eyal says, without this station, nobody will buy new gas on new buses or trucks on gas. Nobody will buy. So we just managed to, 2 or 3 weeks, together with the Ministry of Transport, together with the Ministry of Energy, together with the Parliament, in less than 1 month, we changed the rules. We changed the legislation, and the new legislation will actually enable to have a license in something like 2 or 3 months, something like that. It's reasonable. At the end, we have issues that we have to check, but to have a new gas station or to add gas, natural gas to a current station in 3-4 months. That's a huge success for Eyal's initiative, and I hope that this is a first example of how can we reduce bureaucracy. But at the end, we can reduce bureaucracy as much as we can, but we have to, to manage, and this is something not for you actually, it's something for the government, to reduce the needs of the people to move. This morning, short story. This morning, my niece, I called to my niece, okay? She was just, came to the army. She's, 1 month, 1.5 months at the army. And today, she has to go to another base that in this base, they are going to tell her where she's going to be, okay? Now, there's no interview there, nothing. She's going to get a paper that says you have to go to this base. Now, she comes from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv to have a paper that she might go back to Jerusalem because the base is in Jerusalem. Now, this bureaucracy give us, the need to make transportation. And if we are going to manage, and that's why we have to do, to reduce bureaucracy, to come, to the 21st century, we're going to reduce pollution, we are going to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. The discovery of the natural gas reservoirs in Israel offers really a unique opportunity for us and for the energy sector in Israel and for the environment in Israel. That's why our first phase in the ministry is just giving priority to natural gas as the most available energy source for transportation. As I said before, we have one bus today. High on our list of priorities is the National Plan for Air Pollution Reduction in Haifa Bay. Haifa Bay is an area that is very polluted because of industry and very polluted because of transportation. And we have a general plan that we are actually implementing these days to reduce the pollution in Haifa. And out of that, there are some issues that we are dealing with regarding transportation. Things like this is going to be the first low-emission zone in Israel, in Haifa, that will restrict, entrance of polluting diesel vehicles. We're going to give financial incentives to buy and to install diesel particulated filters in heavy vehicles. We are going to support the operation of 30 buses on gas, on natural gas and CNG, and we are going to give incentives for operation of 500 electric power taxis in Haifa, and trucks, etc. And our motto, is Haifa first. What we're going to do in Haifa, we're going to do at the rest of the country. And I think that, the mayor of Jerusalem came to us and the mayor of Tel Aviv came to us, and they want these low emission zones. They want to deal with the pollution. They want to deal with the transportation. It's something that is very encouraging because, it's not that you have to force them to do it. They just want to do it. I think that we have to provide the market, as many as possible, economically and environmentally feasible technologies that will enable us to reduce the emission and improve our quality of life. And as you probably know, we have Yom Kippur. It's a day that Jewish people, some of us don't eat, but all of us don't ride. We don't take the cars, we don't use the cars. I mean, there is a reduction of about 95% in cars, in transportation at all. And we are monitoring the pollution in these days, and we see that the change is dramatically. I mean, it's something that you can really, when you look at the monitors, you think that they are broke. Okay, it's something that you can't imagine the change or the influence of the transport on the pollution. Thank you very much, and I was very glad to be here. And again, I hope that you will all bring us new technologies that will enable us to meet our targets. There are targets that at the end are related to the health of people, and that's why it's so important for us. Thank you very much.